Hey guys, it's me, Vixon23 with some Team Center Circle gameplay. This is basically just a gameplay where we have to hold down the middle of the map on cargo. It took quite a lot of time to get just because people flood in from everywhere, a lot of angles to cover, but with a bit of good teamwork, we got a good game in the middle. It's just going to switch to Bonnie's perspective for a little bit, and that is just about it for the gameplay and for the topic. So you guys may have watched a video, it was about a week or so ago, Team DSR Silencer talked about human cyborgs and the idea of uploading human brains into cyborgs that this Russian billionaire Mr. Itskov is trying to do and thinks will be done by the mid-century. And the term immortality was thrown around pretty loosely, and I just thought I would just go into that and do a bit of thinking about that, because it's something that actually seems almost impossible to us, seems really unperceivable. A lot of scientists are saying some form of immortality or greatly expanded lifespans will be possible by the half century around 2050. The 2045 initiative, which is the aim to get humans transplanted into cyborgs, well, that's hoped to be completed by 2045, so within our lifetimes. And immortality has always seemed like one of these impossible things, but it's not exactly completely impossible, paradoxical when you think about what it is in essence. Something like time travel, well, time travel back into time, that doesn't really make sense because there's an infinite amount of time ahead of us, and if humans had at some point in the future determined how to travel backwards in time, then there's an infinite chance that they would have time travelled backwards to our time now. There's no reason they wouldn't have, and if there was a reason they wouldn't have, well, they can't travel in time backwards. It's as simple as that. Even if they only had a set range, they could keep going back. So it's not something like that, it's just like repairing. Because you think about a vehicle, like a car can get repaired. There are still antique motors, some of the earliest cars that were made are still running, and the parts need to be repaired, and it's nothing too crazy. The parts just, the specific parts, they get repaired, and it's the same every single time. One piece breaks, it gets replaced, repaired, and then it carries on. And immortality could be done in the same way. The only situation being that the human body is much more complicated than a simple mechanical motor, but with the rate that technology is increasing and our understanding of the human body and how it works is increasing, in the next half century it could become something that is a situation that is a possible one. Basically one of the methods they think of recreating the brain is to take scans of the body at a nano scale, using scanning electron microscopes, all of this kind of stuff, and basically on a molecular level rebuild a virtual simulation with all of the synapses, all of the neuron connections in the brain in a digital piece of software, and then set it to simulate, and then surely a brain would be created, and you are a product of what goes on in your brain, all the synapse connections that are formed and reformed, all of the parts of the brain that are stimulated by memory. And yeah, if a digital version of my brain is recreated, that is me. But what if the human me still exists, and then there's a virtual me? This is AI on a whole nother level. Is it AI? Is it human? It would be some sort of cyborg combination, and it's an interesting way to go just into the physical idea of it. And this is I was actually planning to go into the ethics of this, but I only have about a minute left, so I'm not going to go into the ethics of it and unfinish this. I'll probably talk about the ethics of it in my next commentary, so this is a change in plan. But yeah, going back to the idea of an uploaded brain or immortality, when you break it down practically, it doesn't seem like such an unreasonable outcome. A lot of the causes of aging are known, and obviously they're too complicated to be reversed at this point, but what if they were to be reversed? And this really runs parallel again to the same idea of just digitally uploading a brain, which, when you think about it, when there's even multiple considerations into how immortality could be achieved, it does make you start to think, maybe this will one day happen. And another thing to consider is that when you have these digitally uploaded brains, who is in control of them, who, operates what gets to the brains? Could the brains be built just completely into a digital world? Would people choose to live in the real world if they could live in a virtual, immortal world? The energy consumption would be huge if you think about the blood, the brain using 50-60% of the glucose the body needs. If you convert chemical energy into electrical energy, that's a lot of power that is going to be needed to power this device. Who's going to provide that power? It's all crazy stuff to consider. I think I've raised some interesting questions with you. Feel free to write some more in the comment section, discuss, and I will see you on the next part of this video where we go into a little more depth into the ethical considerations of people being immortal.